Hello and welcome. Today I have another board book piece. Remember, I'm using baby books that are real thick. I call them board books. And I've prepped them by sanding the glossiness off the page and putting 2 coats of white gesso down. And so I'm just picking out my papers. Well, I've already picked them out, but and I think I've picked out most of my collage items, but it's still some things that I haven't quite decided yet. The brown and blue paper is a Gelli print with some distress inks, and it wasn't quite big enough to go across the entire spread, so I decided that I would take part of the left page being some other paper. So I went through some of my stash of paper, and this one is a Tim Holtz paper. It's the blue one. It kind of has some cigar stuff in it, so I'll have it listed in the description. But the rest of this is a Gelli print I printed, and I would say that is maybe, I think it's frayed burlap and faded blue jeans maybe. I did it so long ago I can't really remember what the blue color was, but I'm thinking that the brown is frayed burlap, oxide. It might be speckled egg now that I think about it. Because I made it so long ago, and my color that I had back then, I think the sprays were all oxides, and I think the only blue I have in an oxide right now is a speckled egg. Or back then, that's all I had was speckled egg. So I try to line it up as best I can. I'm just attaching them with my glue stick. And from the last page I did, I found it easiest to cut by just laying it flat against one of my self-healing cutting mats and a X-Acto knife. So that worked out pretty good. So I have the background pieces on, and I'm going to add a little bit of stamping in the background. And I don't want it to be black, so I'm going to use my Archival ink, and I believe it's potting soil. Let me look. Yes, potting soil. And I have this really nice, this is kind of new to me, this text stamp. I got it from SimonSays stamp, and I think it might be one of their stamps. So I'm just stamping over the Gelli print just to give it something in the background. So for my collage pieces, I have some digital printouts, and the bird was one, and the number signs here that I'm gonna put out were also a different one. But I'm trying to keep them in the brown family. When I print my digital prints, I print them out on a lightweight cardstock. That way it's not too hard to cut, but yet it still has a little more presence than just a piece of copy paper. So I'm cutting this yellowish 5. I actually don't use it. I was thinking about using one on each side, but I actually don't use it. And then I have this music note, kind of vintagey looking washi tape, and I will be adding that down the side. There's a little portion I hadn't cut yet because I just didn't want it to get messed up with in storage, so I usually cut out a whole bunch of things in advance, but if their feet are out or little flowers like that, I tend to leave those until I am going to use them. On the other side, I have a bird in the same family of birds. It looks a little different, but they were from the same printout. And again, I get one of these yellow ones ready, but I don't use it. I'm going to use a little bit longer piece of that washi tape. And since he's on a branch, I'm going to have him up a little higher in the air and have the big bird lower. And then I'm thinking about putting a moon behind the bird over the dark paper. I think that would be rather nice. So I always have some 2.5-inch circles cut. I sometimes make some coins, trading coins, even though I don't trade them. I like the size and sometimes they're just cute. So I always have some out ready or cut and prepared ready. And so I'm just going to take one of those, and even though the stencil is not for a 2.5-inch round, I have no trouble using it in something smaller. You just would want to make sure you're using the larger stencil of what your circle is, or else you really won't get to the edge, or you'll have to move it around. I'm not sure how that would work out. So even though my stencil is larger, I'm just going to color in the portion that is underneath it. And I'm using pumice stone, which is a lighter gray. Then I'm also going to just take a little around the edges. So I end up ditching the yellow stickers, not stickers, numbers for some scraps of scrapbook paper. And I'll put one on each side. And before I start gluing everything down, I'm going to just go around the edges, because once I'm got things down, they might be closer to the edges than what would be easily reached. And I'm doing the extreme edge with scorched timber. Now I might often take the white going through the Gelli print and doing vintage photo over it to soften it up, but with the moon coming into play, I thought it might look a little bit like moon glow, so I decided to leave it. And all the ephemera that I'm putting down, I want to make sure I don't have any white fresh edges from the cut. So I just add a little bit of vintage photo all around, even on the birds. Being very gentle with the delicate pieces that might or could bend or break. And it looks like my glue got a little stopped up. So I just need to get that loosened up a little bit. That's what happens when I don't put my pin back in for a period of time. So I think that's it for the right side. I also like how it looks like the moon is shining on the back of that bird because it's a little lighter than the other side, the other bird. And the last thing is a sentiment, and this is from Tim Holtz Small Talk. What seems ordinary is often the extraordinary. And I believe that is it. I have some final pictures coming up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And the last thing I'm doing there is just adding some to the seam so it doesn't stand out so white. But y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.